Good morning, students.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
You're able to see my slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, just the screen is visible.
Just screen, no.
Slide is not visible?
No.
Okay. How about now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You are seeing this types of attributes slide?
Ma'am, you are not audible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Now it's visible.
Yeah, ma'am. Now it's visible.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
fine. Okay. All right. So last class we were discussing about the different types of attributes. So we saw what is Please join on time, all of you. It really becomes difficult for me to admit all of you again and again. And I'll tell my faculty members not to end the call. They can just leave the call. I don't know why all this is happening. It's really a lot of waste of time for me. And why I should be able to admit you? You should be able to join automatically. Why is it asking for me to admit all of you? I don't understand. Let me check anyways later. Okay, so we had seen what are the different types of attributes, single versus composite we saw. Then we saw what is, I'm sorry, simple versus composite, single versus multi-valued attributes. And then we saw what are derived versus stored attributes. And then we saw what are null values. We saw what is a complex attribute, right? All this we had seen. And then we moved on to what is an entity set and an entity type. Then we saw what are the different notations. You're able to see the change of slides? Can anyone confirm, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
So we
ma'am.
saw, yeah, intention and extension we saw. We saw what is a key attribute. We talked about primary key, I think, and we took some examples of primary key. And then we saw what is a candidate key. We saw what is okay. We saw what is where did I go? Yeah, we saw what is a candidate key. Candidate key is, as I told, let me give you a recap. When you have more than one key which can act as a primary key, then they are all called as all the keys will be called as candidate keys. You can select one of them to become primary key. All the others will become alternate keys. Okay, that is also we saw. And then we came to we saw one more thing called as a composite key. Composite key means what? When any of the attributes are not able to behave as a primary key, then I have to take a combination of keys in order to make it as a primary key. So that is what, so the combination of keys, you call it as a, you call it as composite key. So we also took some examples of that also. Okay, let's proceed further. Any doubts so far, any of you? in determining in differentiating between the different keys and the different types of attributes? Any doubts, any questions so far?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, simple key can be a primary key, right?
Yes, it can be. It can be a primary key.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. You cannot make a composite key along with all its components. You cannot make it as a primary key. Simple key, yes, you can make. Any other questions? Okay. Next, we see what is meant by a domain of an attribute. Domain means what? The set of all possible permitted values for that particular attribute. You call it as a domain. It's very important. Now, birthday. When I say date of birth should be range of all the valid dates. You cannot give today's, tomorrow's date as date of birth. Or suppose you are saying, let us say we are in the university database. In the university database, let us say for student as an entity, we have date of birth as a attribute. So what did I say? We have university database. In that, I have student as an entity. In that student, for the student, we have date of birth as one of the attribute. Now, what is a domain of that particular date of birth in student for the student as an entity? That means student, if he is born today, or if the date of birth is yesterday, today, I cannot accept that. That is not the range of values which are permitted. So date of birth means maybe let us say 18 to 22-year-old student, somewhere in that range only I can accept him or her as a student. So your date of birth should be only always within that range. You cannot write a date of birth which is today's date. You cannot write a date of birth which is last year's date. All that is not possible. So domain means it specifies the entire set of values which are permitted for that particular attribute. So when I say voter, who can be a voter? Any person who is aged above 18 can only be the voter. So 18 to 100, let us say. Let me take it anyway. Above 100 also you can vote, but still, just for the sake of example, 18 to 100 only I can take as I can accept the age of a voter. If the voter is 10 years old, then I cannot accept it. So what is this 18 to 100? 18 to 100 is nothing but the domain of the attribute age in that particular context. Okay, and for that voter's context, 18 to 100 is the domain of the attribute age. Domain means what? The set of all the values which can be called as a domain. So for each attribute, you will have some kind of a domain. For example, let us say a name of a student. Name of a student, I say it should have only alphabets. I don't want any numericals coming in the name. So that means any combination of alphabets is a permitted value for the name. Now I don't want anybody who is going to be called as Louis IV, Louis III, John II. Like that, I don't want anybody to be called. Okay, such names are not permitted. So what is a permissible or the allowed values for that name? Set of all alphabets. So any combination of alphabet, it is allowed. So that becomes a domain for this particular student's name. Here again they are given, that is what, all possible range of names. Okay, it is here. Then department code, set of all possible codes. So that is what we say. It always provides you some allowed, what is allowed for that attribute, which values are allowed for that attribute. That is what you call it as a domain of attribute. Am I clear to you all? What is meant by domain? So domain means all the values which are permitted, which can be allowed, is called as domain, right? Why you are all entering so late? Lavanya, why are you entering so late? Huh? You should be on time now. It's already 11:05. Okay, so that is what you call it as domain. Next, we move. What is you can always write this value of a domain as a function. That means you can write this as value of set E. A is an attribute. E to P of V. A is an attribute of E, entity type, having the value set V. It is a function of the power set P of V. That means you can, every attribute of the entity type E can have certain set of values to be as per that can be allowed for that particular attribute. That is what we mean. When we say composite attribute, we can always have combination of, because for composite attribute means what? It is going to have different components. So for each component, I can have a different set of values which are allowed. Street name, there are some different set of values are allowed. Home or let us say door number, there's a different set of values are allowed. Then we have a city, there's a different set of values allowed, like that. That is why we have given here P of V1 star, P of V2 star, P of Vn. V1, V2 are all value set of each component. When we say composite attribute, obviously that attribute is made up of several components. So for every component, you are going to have some values. Next, we move on to what is a relationship. That's a very, we have seen what is an entity. We have seen what is a attribute. We saw what are the different types of attributes. We saw what are the different notations for attributes and what is a domain of an attribute. I hope I'm clear. Domain means the set of all allowed values for a particular attribute. You call it as domain of that attribute. Next, we move on to relationships. What is a relationship? A relationship is an association among two or more entities. In the last lab cycle, we saw that we had 4 entities. I will take the same example again because all of you have dealt with it. We have had a lot of discussion on that. That's why I'm taking the same example so that your understanding becomes clear. We saw 4 important entities there. Student was one entity, book was one entity, author was one entity, and branch was one entity. Now, these 4 entities, as we saw, we cannot have them individually, separately. You cannot deal with them. They have to be connected. That means there should be some relationship between the entities. Between branch and student, there should be some relationship, is it not? We said student belongs to the branch. That is a relationship. We said a book is, author writes the book. So that's a relationship between author and book. That is what we mean by any kind of connection or an association. You call it as a relationship. So a relationship is an association among 2 or more entities. Now, how do you set up this relationship? There should always be a common attribute between both these entities. When I say student belongs to the, a student belongs to the branch. So there should be something common in both these entities. That means student entity should have branch ID as an attribute. Branch also should have branch ID as an attribute. So using this branch ID, I am going to connect or associate or relate these 2 entities. Similarly, author and book ID, book. How can I relate them? Author writes the book. That is a relationship. But how do I bring in, when I try to implement, how can I do this? Author has a attribute called as book ID, just to show which book he has written. Book has an attribute called as author ID, which means, book also has a book ID. So using this book ID, I can try to relate book and author. So there should be some common attribute between the 2 entities so that these 2 entities can be connected or can be related or associated, right? So whenever an attribute of one entity refers to the attribute of another entity type, then that means some relationship is existing in between these 2 entities. So specifically, a relationship relates to 2 or more entities. Relationship need not only be between 2 entities. You can have more than 2 entities also, which we will see a little later. So for example, so I gave the example of whatever entity diagram we have already seen. This is another example. Manager of the department refers to an employee who manages the department. So employee is one entity. Department is one entity or is one entity. I can always say employee manages department. So this manages becomes a relationship. I also told you that always verbs are relationships, nouns are entities. Okay. Right. Some problem with my laptop. Okay. Next, let's see what is a relationship type. Now we saw what is an entity type and an entity set. Correct? So similarly, we also have relationship type and relationship set. Okay. Relationships of the same type are grouped into relationship type. See, relationship is also called as a relationship type. How many instances of relations are there? That entire collection, you call it as relationship set. I'll give you an example. Yeah, let us see this example. Look at this example. Employee is one entity, right? And then you have department as another. This is one entity. This employee is one entity. Of course, employee has a set of attributes. All these are nothing but attributes of employee. And for the department also, you are having all this as the set of attributes. What are the attributes of the department? Name, number is the primary key, so it is underlined. Location, it's a multi-valued attribute. That is why you have shown it as a double ellipse. Employee, what are the attributes here? We have name. Name is a composite attribute if you see, because you have again initial name, first name, last name, all that. Employee number is a primary key because you underlined it as a, we have underlined it. And then there is gender, there is some first name and all that. And then we have a date of birth. So these are all attributes of this entity. Now, we are trying to relate these two entities. How can you connect this employee and department? Employee, I can have two relationships or more than two also. I said you can have more than two relationship or more than one relationship. You can have just one, you can have two, you can have three relationships between the same set of entities. Now here we have only two entities, employee, department. But we have shown two different relationships between employee and department. How they are different? Employee works for department. That is one relationship. That means, how am I relating every employee? We see here, we have double line. Double line means what? Total participation. I told in the last lab class. Here also we have double line. Double line means total participation. Total participation means what? Every employee should work for some department. That is why you have made this part of it as a double line. Every employee should work for a particular department. Why we have made this part also as double line? Because every department should have some employees. You cannot have a department without any employees at all. That is why both the sides we have shown as total participation. Now, works for is one relationship. How do we represent relationship? I told we show it as a diamond sign. That's a notation for relationship. So works for is one relationship. Now, we have shown here two relationships between employee and department. One is works for, another one is manages. Manages means what? Employee manages the department. Look at here. This is a partial participation. Whereas here, this side you have total participation. Here it is single line, here it is double line. Why like that? Because every employee manages the department means what? Among all the employees, one employee is a manager who is going to manage the department. So, partial participation means every employee cannot be a manager or need not be a manager. There is only one employee who will be acting as a manager. Correct? There is only one HOD for the department, but HOD is also an employee. Correct? It's like that. All the employees, all of us work for MCA department. You have to work for some department. That is one relationship. Another relationship is what? Among all the employees, one of them is going to act as a manager. Not all employees can be a manager. That is why we have shown this as a single line. That means partial participation. Whereas this side of the relationship, managers to department, you see, it's a double line. That means it is a total participation. Now, why we have taken total participation there? Because every department should and must have a manager. That is why it is shown as a total participation. We can't show partial there. Every department should have some head, correct? So that is why we have shown it. So there are two different relationships between these two entities. There are two different relationships. One is works for, one is managers. And I also told you relationship can also have a attribute. So in this case, relation managers has got an attribute called as start date. It is not necessarily entities only should have. Relationships can also have attributes. So managers relationship has an attribute called start date. That means from which day I started working as a manager, from which day I took over as a HOD. So let us say like that. So that is your start date. So there can be more than one relationship between two different entities. Any questions still here? Any questions in this diagram? Any doubts? Any doubts, anyone?
No, ma'am.
All right. Okay, let's move forward. Next, I said relationship set. I will show you an example. Yeah, first I'll show you this and then we'll come back to them. I want to show you what is a relationship type and what is a relationship set. Similar to entity type and entity set, we also have relationship type and relationship set. Relationship type, entity type means what? The entity itself, we called it as a entity type. Entity with some attributes. When you define it, it is going to be called as an entity type because it is going to have a collection of entities. The set of all the collection of all entities or all instances of that entity, we call it as a entity set. Correct. I gave you an example. I said student is an entity. Student as an entity has several attributes. Now, I'm not going to define that entity and simply keep quiet. I'm going to enter all your records into that student. Each of you is going to have some value for those attributes. So the collection of all this, let us say 58 entries that I will put in, that is called entity set, right? Similarly, come here. Here in case of relationship, now this works for is a relationship type. That means I'm defining a relationship between employee and department. So works for is a relationship. I can also call it as relationship type. Okay. Now, once I say it's a relationship, I also have to show how these employees E1 to E7, how are they related? Who are connected to which department and so on. So now look here. E1 is connected to D1 through one instance, let us say R1. Simply we are naming that as one relationship. R1 is the first relationship, let us say. E2 is related to D2 through an instance called as R2. E3 is related to D1. Like that, you go on showing the exact relationship in this works for. So this works for is a relationship type which is actually containing all this 7 relationships. This collection of 7 relationships, or we call it as this collection of 7 instances of this relationship, we call it as a relationship set. Collection of, I said in case of entity, the collection of all 58 records, you call it as an entity set. Similarly, the collection of all those instances, you call it as a relationship set. See here, a relationship set is a set of relationships of the same type. So when I say employee belongs to the department, all the 7 employees or whatever, they're sharing the same relationship type. What is the relationship type? Works for. All the 7 are working for the some department. So then you call it as a relationship set. The relationship set and relation type are referred to by the same name. So name is same. So R is a set of relationship instances. That's what I said. You have some, each one is called as a relationship instance, where each Ri associates n individual entities, and each entity Ej in Ri is a member of that entity type. Right? Now, any doubts in relationship set and relationship type? Next, we move on to a very important concept, which is called as, what do we mean by degree of the relationship type? What do we mean by the degree of relationship? Please remember, relation is different, relationship is different. Relationship is the association between the two different entities. What we are seeing now, works for is a relationship. You can't call works for as a relation. Relation means in relational algebra, it is a table. A table is called as a relation. Degree of a relation is different. Degree of a relationship is different. So when we go to relation, we will discuss about that, not now. Now we are only talking about relationship. Okay. So what is relationship? Association between any two or more entities. You call it as a relationship. Now, when we talk of a degree of a relationship means how many entities are involved in that relationship. How many entities are involved in that relationship? For example, what is the relationship here? Works for is a relationship. How many entities are involved? There are 2 entities involved. One is employee, and one is other one is department. So there are 2 entities which are involved in this works for relationship. So how many? That is nothing but the degree of the relationship called as works for. So the degree of the relationship works for is nothing but 2. Why 2? Because there are 2 entities which are involved. One is employee, one is department. That is what you call degree of a relationship is nothing but the number of participating entity types. How many entities are participating in that particular relationship? That is what you call it as degree of a relationship. Okay. Now the degree of a relationship, we can classify them as binary relationship and ternary relationship. Okay. Binary means what? Binary means always we say binary is nothing but anything that is 2, you call it as binary. So when 2 entities participate in a relation, then you call it as a binary relationship. So this works for is a binary relationship because there are 2 entities which are participating, employee and department. This is a works for is a binary relationship because there are only 2 entities which are involved. If there are 3 entities that are going to be involved, then you call such a relationship as a ternary relationship. There are 3 entities that are involved. Okay. So let us see an example. Look at this example. Okay. Now this is a binary relation. Works on is a binary relationship. Degree of the relay, always degree is associated with relationship, not with entities. Please remember that. So degree of this relay, what is the relationship here between employee and project? It is works on. Works on is a relationship here. So in this relationship works on, how many entities are involved? There is one employee entity is involved, and then you have the project entity that is involved. So there are 2 entities which are involved. So you call it as a binary relationship. Next, let us take an example of ternary relationship. Ternary means what I said. There are 3 entities that are going to be involved in the relationship. Then you call it as a ternary relationship. What is the relationship here? Supply. Supply is a relationship here. How many entities are involved? You have supplier which is involved, which is an entity. Project is an entity which is involved. Part is an entity which is involved. So there are 3 entities that are involved here. So you call it as a ternary relationship. Any doubts so far? Are you clear between what is meant by degree of a relationship? Not degree of a see, relation is different, relationship is different. Degree of a relation is different, degree of a relationship is different. We are not talking of relation now at all. We are not talking of relation, hence we are not talking of degree of a relation. We are only talking about relationship and degree of relationship. Don't get confused. Going further, we'll be learning about relation, degree of a relation and all that. So that time I will tell you again what is relation and all that. See, this is how the relationship set is shown, or the instances of this relationship is shown. What is the relationship here? This whole supply is a relationship. Okay, instances means what? How many such relations are existing here? For example, supply S1 is supplying the part, let us say the part P1 to the project J1. That's how, that is one instance of a ternary relationship. One instance means one particular relationship. Like that, you have so many instances here. S1 is supplying the part P2 for the project for the project J1. That is another relationship here. Then we have, like that you can go on having. Okay, these are all called as instances of the relationship. Collection of these instances of relationship, you call it as a relationship set, right? Now, the next important concept we'll be learning is, what do we mean by a role name? Role name. Now, we saw what is an entity, we saw what is a relationship, and how these entities are participating in the relationship. Now, role, you have some role to play, correct? When I say I am an employee works on project. So I am an employee there. Employee, my role is also an employee only. So that's the reason most of the time we don't specify the role name. Unless role name has got some significance, we don't generally specify. It's understood. When I say employee works for department, it's understood I am an employee. What is my role? My role is an employee. It's understood. So we don't write that. But certain times we may have to make some significant differentiation between the roles. In that case, role name becomes very important. See here, role name signifies the role that a participating entity, what role are you playing? Correct. So in the works for relationship type, employee plays the role of an employee, obviously, or worker. And department plays the role of department or employer, right? So it's understood. So that's the reason we don't write it. We don't write a role name. We don't write the role names. The participating entity type name itself can be used as a role name. But certain cases, role names becomes important. Where it becomes important, we'll see that. Role name means, I hope it's clear, what role do we play? That's all. Employee works for department. I'm an employee working. My role is what? Employee. What is the role of the department? Employer. Correct? Because he has employed me. The department has employed me. So department is the employer. It's very clear. That is why we don't write. But certain cases, as I said, where it is not going to be clear, then role name plays a very significant part. In such examples, I will show you where it is. We have something called as a very important concept, which is called as recursive relationship. We have seen relationship. Recursive relationship means the same. We have seen what works for means what? There are two different entities which are participating. Employee is an entity, department is an entity. These two entities are participating in the relationship works for. Two different entities are participating. Now, in some cases, the same entity will participate more than once in the relationship. I have only one entity, but there is a relationship. Same entity is participating more than once in that relationship. So every time it participates, it is going to play some different roles. In such cases, your role names becomes very important. Such relationships, you call it as recursive relationship. Recursive relationship means what? Generally in relationship, there will be two or more different entities which are participating. Employee works for department. So two different entities are participating. There may be some cases where the same entity is participating twice in that relationship. There are no two different entities. I am participating as a teacher. I am participating as a student also. I teach also, I learn also. So that means what? I'm playing two different roles. I teach you, I learn also. So that way what? I as an entity, faculty, me as an entity, I am participating in the same relationship. It could be something. Okay, that means I'm playing two different roles. I am a teacher, I am a student also. Such relationships, you call it as recursive relationship. There, specifying the role name becomes very important. Where am I representing the teacher's role and where am I representing a student's role? I can be both a teacher as well as a student. Look at this. This is an example of a recursive relationship. I want all of you to concentrate. Now, what is a relationship? We have here only one entity, which is employee. Employee is an entity. Of course, employee has so many attributes. All these are different attributes which are there as part of your employee. Let's leave that. Now, come to the relationship. How many relationships are there here? There is only one. Supervise is a relationship. There's only one relationship, mind you. And there is only one entity. Correct? Now, this is a recursive relationship. Why? Because this employee as an entity is participating in two different roles in this relationship called as supervise. Supervise is the relationship. That means an employee can behave as a supervisor. He can also be a supervisee. These are called the supervisor and the supervisee. They are called as role names. Role names. This is where specifying the role name becomes very important. Only in case of recursive relationship, we try to specify the role names. Otherwise, generally, we don't specify the role names. Okay. So, supervisor. Supervise is the relationship. That means what? Employees have to be supervised. That's our relationship. Now, among the employees itself, one of the employee is going to act as a supervisor. He's also an employee only, but he is going to act as a supervisor, means I am going to supervise you. Okay. Now, there only one can be a supervisor. Everybody cannot become a supervisor. Correct? Now, employee also takes up another role, which is a supervisee. Right? That means who is being supervised. If I supervise you, I am the supervisor, you are the supervisee. Okay. Right. Next, when principal supervises me, so principal becomes the supervisor, I become the supervisee. So that means what is happening? I am supervising you, somebody else is supervising me. So I, as an employee, play the role of supervisor as well as supervising. Such a relationship, that means I as an entity, I am participating in the same relationship called as supervise in two different roles. I play two different roles. I supervise also, somebody supervises me also. So I am a supervisor, I am a supervisee as well. Such relationships, you call it as recursive relationship. Only in case of recursive relationship, you have the, you have to write the role names. In what roles am I involved? Because I am involved in two different roles. So I have to write there what are the roles in which I am getting involved. Any doubts in this? What to say? This kind of so recursive relationship. Do you all have any doubts? Is it clear? Are you all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts?
Ma'am.
So that is what is called as recursive relationship, wherein we make use of our role names become very much necessary for distinguishing what role are you playing. All right. So the supervision, supervise, it's a very important or a very good example. There is one supervisor, there is one here, right? There is one written here. One supervisor for n number of employees. Right. Next, we come to what are the constraints on the relationships. Constraints means what? What are the possible limitations, or what are the possible restrictions, all that. There are generally, when you talk of relationship constraints, there are two important types of constraints on the relationship. One is called as the maximum cardinality. This is also called as the cardinality ratio. The alternate names you should be very clear, because they may ask the questions in using different names. They may ask you what is maximum cardinality, or they may also ask you what is cardinality ratio. Both you should be able to answer. Okay. Constraints. Relationship constraints can be of two types. Maximum cardinality or cardinality ratio. And then we have minimum cardinality, which is also called as participation constraints or existence dependency constraint. These are the several different names for minimum cardinality. Minimum cardinality is very important. We'll come to that. So there are two different types of relationship constraints. One is maximum cardinality, which is also called cardinality ratio. Then the other one is minimum cardinality, also called participation constraint. It is also called existence dependency constraint. Okay. First, let us begin with what do we mean by maximum cardinality or cardinality ratio for the binary relationship. Binary relationship means what? There are two entities which are participating in that relationship. Okay. What do we mean by maximum cardinality? It refers to the number of entities to which another entity can be associated. Okay. Okay. Don't worry about the definition. We'll come to examples. It will make it clear. Okay. So this cardinality ratio are of four types: 1 to 1, 1 to many, many to 1, many to many. Right. Let us take each one of them one by one. 1 to 1 relationship means what? An entity in A is associated with at most one entity in B, and an entity in B is associated with at most one entity in A. That is your 1 to 1 relationship. Look here. Employee manages department. Only one employee can be associated with one department. That means what? Only one of the employee can be a manager to only one department, 1 to 1. I cannot have two employees managing the same department. I cannot have one manager. Who's that? Who's that? Abhilash, leave the room. Leave the classroom. So 1 to 1 means what? One employee manages one department. That's all. That means only one employee. At most you can have, how many managers you can have in a department? There's only one manager. Correct? One employee acts as a manager for one department. And in one department, how many managers you can have? You can have only one manager. So both the ways it should be satisfied. Entity in A is associated with at most one entity in B. That's one part. That means what? One employee only can be a manager for one department. That is from left to right. And an entity in B is associated with at most one entity in A. Every department can have only one manager. You cannot have more than one. That is your 1 to 1. Can you give me some examples for 1 to 1? More examples for 1 to 1? Any examples for 1-to-1? Anyone? No one is replying. So that's an example for 1-to-1. Next, 1-to-many. An entity in A is associated with any number of entities in B, but an entity in B can be associated with at most one entity in A. Okay, 1-to-many. Entity in A is associated with any number of entities, 1-to-many. But when you look from the other side, entity in B, however, can be associated with at most one entity in A. Okay, what is the relationship here? Employee has dependents. Dependent means what? My mother, father, all these are dependent on me. Correct? So like that. So an employee, I'm an employee. I have some dependents in my family. That is my mother, father, or all my dependents. Okay. So one employee obviously can have many dependents. I can have more than one, 1-to-many. That is why I call it as 1-to-many. See for here example, E2, employee E2, he has a dependent D1, he has a dependent D2. Both are dependents. But if you look from this side, D1, dependent is associated only with one employee E2. He cannot be associated with E1, E2, E3 and so on. Correct? So 1-to-many. Any entity in a employee can have many dependents, but a dependent is associated back only with one employee. So that's why I said entity in B can be associated with at most one entity in A. That is 1-to-many. Now when I say student belongs to a branch, so that means that is actually a 1-to-many relationship you can consider. Student belongs to a branch. Every student belongs to only no, I can't take that because no, that will be a wrong one. What other example can you take for 1-to-many? Can you tell me?
Ma'am, faculty to department.
Faculty to department. Every faculty can belong only one department. I can belong. No, you can't take that. 1-to-many.
One faculty can belong to MCA department or from engineering department.
No, I can belong only to one department. I can't belong to 2-3 departments. No, I can belong only to one department.
One teacher teaches many students.
One teacher teaches many students.
Managers to employee. ma'am.
So a bank to customer.
Sorry?
Ma'am. Bank to customers.
One bank can have many customers. Yeah, maybe you can think about it, but a customer belongs to one bank only, right? Can be thought of. So that is 1-to-many. Now this is an example. 1-to-1. You're seeing on this side. I think this. Yeah, this whole thing is 1-to-1. A1 is related to B1, A2 to B2, A3 to B3, A4 to B4. 1-to-many. A1 is related to B1, B2. A2 is related to B3, B4, A3 is related to B5. Okay. Now, many to one. An entity in A is associated with at most one entity in B. And an entity in B, however, can be associated with any number of entities in A. 1-to-many. So, student belongs to a branch will become 1-to-many. One student can belong. No. Again, that will not come. Student belongs to a branch will be many to one. Many students can belong to one particular branch. That's right. Many to one. Employee works for the department, right? So many employees can work for the same department. Correct? That is nothing but your many to one. Student belongs to branch, as I said. Many students can belong to the same branch or can belong to one particular branch. Student borrows books. Many students can borrow the Same book means that, of course, you have to define it properly. Same book means same title book. Of course, when multiple copies are there, means you are again right. But there is only one particular book, then that becomes true. Any examples? Many to one?
No, student to branch.
Sorry?
No, students to department.
Yeah, many students belong to one department.
Right. Employees to company.
One, correct. Yeah.
Customers to company, like business.
Many customers will belong to one company. Correct. Many to many. Entity in A is associated with any number of entities in B. Entity in B is also can be associated with any number of entities in A. Many to many. Employee works on project. Many employees can work on many projects. I can work on project P1. I can work on project P2, P3, P4. Everything I can work. So many to one. Many employees can work on many projects, you know. So employee works on project is a very good example for many to many. So again here, this is just a pictorial representation again. This is n to 1, that is many to 1 on the left side that you are seeing. Right side is many to many. Okay. So that is when I said relationship, constraints on relationship can be of two types. Maximum cardinality, which is also called as cardinality ratio. So maximum cardinality means what? How many entities of one particular, how many instances of one particular entity is related to how many instances of another entity. That is what you call it as cardinality ratio. So 1 to 1, 1 to many to 1, many to many. That is maximum cardinality. Next is very important, that is your minimum cardinality, which is also called, as I said, participation constraint or existence dependency constraints. Again, there are two types, as we have discussed, total participation and partial participation. So this total participation and partial participation comes as a relationship constraint. Total participation, I said, you represent it as a double line. Partial participation, you are representing it as a single line. So what do we mean? Total participation, where every entity in the entity set participates in at least one relationship, then you call it as a total participation. It is also called existence dependency, shown by the double lining the link. Every employee should work in some department. Every employee should work on some project. So that and all will become a double line. Every student should belong to a branch, right? Every branch should have some students. Every department should have some employees. These are all examples of total participation. Every instance of that entity should belong to some relationship. Then you call it as a total participation. Partial, as I said, some entities may not participate in the relationship. It is represented by a single line. As we said, employee as a manager. I explained to you when we saw that ER diagram also. Only one, all employees cannot become managers. Some employees will become, some may not become. So you show it as a partial participation. It is a single line, right? Author writes books. So again, there we saw in that lab exercise, every author need not write a book, is it not? So that becomes a partial participation. Whereas book, when you say book, every book should be written. So the one side becomes partial, one side becomes total. Okay, so that's about it. Any doubts so far? Total and partial, I think we have seen many examples. We'll also continue to see many more as we go ahead. So let's stop at this point. Any doubts, anyone so far? What's your attendance, Anaga?
Yes, ma'am.
Abhilash?
Yes, ma'am.
Akhil?
Yes, ma'am.
Makrut?
Yes, ma'am.
Anusha?
Yes,
Aravind?
Present, ma'am.
Arifullah,
Yes, ma'am.
Ranakaraj,
Present, ma'am.
Banu,
Yes, ma'am.
Rahmatullah,
Present, ma'am.
Chaitra,
Present, ma'am.
Bhargav.
Bhargav present, ma'am.
Yeah. Chandan,
Yes, ma'am.
Chandan,
Present, ma'am.
Charan. Charan. He's not there. Darshan,
Present, ma'am.
Diksha, Dakshayani,
Present, ma'am.
Kishan,
Present, ma'am.
Harshit. Harshit is not there. Vimalata,
Present, ma'am.
Huma,
Present, ma'am.
Jayanth,
Present, ma'am.
Divya, Kaushik.
Ma'am, this
Present,
is
ma'am.
present, ma'am. She have
Yeah, I saw. Lakshmi, Lavanya,
Ma'am, mic issue, ma'am.
Manish,
Present, ma'am.
Manoj,
Present, ma'am.
Mohit,
Yes, ma'am.
Noel,
Yes, ma'am.
Navya,
Present, ma'am.
Nikhil, Panindra,
Present, ma'am.
Pavan,
Present, ma'am.
Pooja,
Present, ma'am.
Purnima, Raman,
Present, ma'am.
Rashmi,
Present, ma'am.
Upak,
Yes, ma'am.
Sai Kumar,
Present, ma'am.
Samir,
Present, ma'am.
Santosh,
Present, ma'am.
Pradap,
Present, ma'am.
Charan. Be quick in answering. Charan,
Ma'am. Present, ma'am.
Sheetal,
Present, ma'am.
Shashank. Shashank is not there. Shivani,
Present, ma'am.
Soumya,
Present, ma'am.
Purti,
Present, ma'am.
Vishnu,
Present, ma'am.
Sugandhini,
Present, ma'am.
Ma,
Present, ma'am.
Smita BS,
Present, ma'am.
Smita U,
Present, ma'am.
Tirtha,
Present, ma'am.
Tripti,
Present, ma'am.
Varsha,
Present, ma'am.
Veena. Divya is present.
Present, ma'am.
Nikhil is present. Veena is present. All right, Charan is absent. That's all. Harshit is absent. Okay.
Ma'am, Nikhil and present, ma'am.
Yeah, I told you. Why are you not hearing me? I told you, right?
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, network issue, ma'am. I couldn't hear you.
Okay. Okay, students. Thank you all. Tomorrow we'll meet again. Thank you.